Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Growing older is not the end of freedom. It can be the beginning of a new chapter, but too often we hand over our power too soon. Today, I want to talk about a truth many people avoid, why you should not live with your children after 70, and how doing so can silently chip away at your independence and confidence. We live in a society where aging is often equated with dependence. And while the love of your children is unquestionable, your personal growth doesn't have to stop at 70. In fact, this is the time to lean into it even more. Let me explain why holding on to your independence is not just possible, it's necessary. Independence is not a luxury in old age, it is a necessity. It is what keeps your mind sharp, your heart steady, and your purpose alive. When you reach the age of 70, society often starts to treat you differently. There's a quiet expectation that you will slow down, take a backseat, and let others take care of you. But the truth is, the more you hand over your daily responsibilities, the more you risk losing touch with who you are. It may begin with small things, letting someone else manage your meals, your appointments, or your bills. Each time it feels harmless, even convenient. Yet over time, those small handovers can pile up, and with them goes a piece of your confidence, your agency, and your dignity. Living with your children may seem like the sensible or loving thing to do, but it can slowly chip away at your independence without anyone even noticing. You become part of someone else's routine rather than building your own. The daily rhythm of your life starts to be influenced, sometimes dictated, by the needs and schedules of others. Even if they love you deeply, they have their own lives, their own children, their own worries. You may stop making decisions for yourself, not because you can't, but because it's easier not to. And once you begin to believe that you're better off letting others decide for you, your sense of self starts to dim. Independence is not about being alone. It's about being in charge of your own life. It's about waking up in the morning and deciding how you want your day to go. It's about the pride you feel when you fix something yourself, take care of your own space, cook your own meals, or simply move through your day with intention. These are the daily moments that reinforce the belief that you are still capable, still valuable, still strong. Confidence is built from these acts of independence. When you make your own choices, when you face small challenges on your own and overcome them, you remind yourself of your power. Confidence isn't built in grand moments. It's built quietly, day by day, through the steady rhythm of personal responsibility. When you lose those moments, confidence doesn't disappear all at once. It fades. You start to second, guess yourself, you hesitate, you shrink back from opportunities to grow, not because you aren't capable, but because you've stopped practicing the belief that you are. Confidence at any age is a form of self-trust, and self-trust only grows through action. You must give yourself the chance to try, to solve, to act, even if it means struggling sometimes. Living with your children may mean fewer struggles, but it also means fewer chances to grow that confidence muscle. It's tempting to think that less responsibility will bring peace, but often it brings passivity, and passivity, over time, becomes resignation. You start to believe you've had your time, but that is the greatest lie we tell ourselves in aging, that we are no longer meant to lead our lives fully. You are still the author of your story. You still have lessons to learn, dreams to pursue, and contributions to make. But to do that, you must stay at the center of your life. Independence is your stage. Confidence is your voice. You owe it to yourself not to fade, but to flourish. Not to be managed, but to keep managing your life with purpose and pride. By choosing to live independently, even if it's challenging, You send a powerful message to the world and to yourself that your spirit is unshaken, your wisdom is active, and your value is far from expired. You don't grow old by years. You grow old by surrendering your choices, so hold on to them, make them daily, and let your independence be the fuel that keeps your confidence alive. Comfort is one of life's greatest illusions. It feels warm, safe, and familiar, and when you reach a certain age, comfort becomes even more tempting. After a lifetime of responsibilities, raising families, working, and navigating hardships, it's only natural to crave rest and simplicity. But there is a hidden danger in too much comfort. It can slowly become a cage. It begins to wrap around you like a blanket that's too heavy, one that makes it easier to sit still than to get up and move forward. When you choose to live with your children out of comfort, it may feel like a reward at first, a retreat from the pressures of managing a household or facing daily challenges alone. But that very comfort can dull your ambition, limit your activity, and slowly convince you that stepping outside your zone of ease is unnecessary. Growth doesn't come from doing what you've always done. It comes from facing what challenges you. It comes from solving problems, learning new things, meeting new people, and sometimes even failing. Each time you do something unfamiliar or slightly uncomfortable, you send a signal to yourself that you are still evolving. But when life becomes too easy, too predictable, you begin to stop seeking out those opportunities. The edges of your world shrink, your energy dips, your sense of curiosity fades. You stop challenging yourself, and without realizing it, you start aging faster in mind and spirit, even if your body remains healthy. Living with your children can make life feel simpler, but it can also insulate you from the very friction that keeps you sharp. When everything is taken care of for you, meals, cleaning, errands, you may no longer need to use the mental and physical muscles that once gave you pride and purpose. It's not about proving something to others. It's about proving to yourself every single day that you are still capable. The human spirit was never designed for idleness. It thrives in effort, in creativity, in small daily victories. A little discomfort, a little challenge is not something to avoid. It's something to embrace, because it keeps you alive inside. Boundaries are not walls. They are bridges that help relationships stay strong. Living separately from your children is not a sign of distance or lack of love. It is an act of respect. It preserves the natural order of the relationship. Parents should not feel like guests in their children's homes, and children should not carry the silent burden of feeling responsible for their parents' daily happiness. When two generations live together, especially under one roof, boundaries can blur quickly. You may find yourself adjusting your habits to fit into their routines. You may hold back your opinions to keep the peace. Or you may feel guilt for needing help, even when it's freely given. When you have your own space, you maintain your authority over your own life. You get to decide when to wake up, what to eat, who to invite over, and how your home feels. These may sound like small things, but they are the very fibers of identity. When you live apart, your interactions with your children often improve. Visits become intentional. Conversations become more meaningful. There is a sense of mutual respect that grows stronger when everyone has their own domain. You are no longer entangled in their everyday stresses, nor are they in yours. Instead, you meet in the middle as individuals who care for each other but live full, independent lives. Loving your children deeply does not mean you have to live with them. In fact, love often flourishes best with healthy boundaries. Maintaining your space gives you the freedom to be fully yourself. It gives your children the space to be fully themselves. And in that balance, both generations thrive. Let your life be a living example of strength, not dependency. Be close, but not confined. Be available, but not absorbed. And through this, you protect not just your independence, but the strength of your most important relationships. You deserve a life that continues to be yours, one that reflects who you are, what you've experienced, and who you're still becoming. Turning 70 doesn't mean your story is complete. It doesn't mean you need to hand over the pen to someone else. You are still the author of your life, and every new day is an opportunity to write another chapter. There is a dangerous myth that aging means slowing down or fading into the background. But age is not a limitation. It is a badge of resilience. You've overcome years of challenges, adapted to change, and grown stronger with time. That strength doesn't disappear, it just needs a place to shine. Living with your children, though often well-intentioned, can unintentionally shrink your world. When you're in their home, their routines become yours. Their needs, their schedules, their preferences start shaping your days. It becomes harder to maintain your own rhythm, to pursue your own passions, to live a life that still feels deeply personal. The hobbies you used to enjoy might not fit the household schedule. The quiet moments you once cherished might be replaced by noise and activity that isn't yours. Bit by bit, your identity becomes less visible, not because you've changed, but because the environment no longer supports your independence. There is power in having a space that belongs to you, a place where your memories live on the walls, where your morning coffee tastes like freedom, where your music plays without needing permission. That space is not just a house. It is a reflection of your soul. When you live independently, you have the freedom to make decisions based on your own needs and desires. You can wake up when you like, take walks at your pace, spend your evenings the way you choose. These freedoms might seem simple, but they are the very structure of a life that still feels alive. And when you make those choices every day, you remind yourself, and everyone else, that you are still here, still relevant, still growing. Aging with dignity means holding on to your ability to lead your own life. It means not being defined by what you can't do, but being empowered by what you still can. Too often, older people are viewed through a lens of limitation. Society begins to assume what you need, what you should give up, or what you no longer understand. But dignity isn't something that's given to you. It's something you maintain by continuing to be in charge of your own life. When you live with your children, it's easy for the dynamic to shift. Even if unspoken, you might begin to feel less like an individual and more like a dependent. That feeling, over time, can quietly wear away your sense of worth. You are still capable of making decisions. You are still wise enough to know what's best for you. You still have dreams, maybe different ones than before, but no less valuable. Whether it's joining a community group, learning something new, volunteering your time, or simply enjoying peaceful solitude, these are not luxuries. They are necessities for the soul. They remind you of your autonomy. They keep your spirit lit. When you maintain your independence, you make a powerful statement, not just to your family, but to yourself. You say, I am not done, I still matter, I still have things to do, stories to tell, and a life to live. And that message, when lived fully, becomes a light to others. It shows younger generations that aging doesn't mean disappearing. It means evolving. It means embracing change while still standing tall in who you are. You don't need permission to live your life boldly, even after 70. The confidence to do so comes from keeping your freedom close, your dignity intact, and your sense of self unshaken. That is not just a way to survive old age. That is how you rise through it. So don't settle for being a shadow in someone else's home, even if that home is full of love. Choose instead to stand tall in your own space, to live life by your own terms, and to keep growing every single day. You've lived 70 years not to fade quietly, but to rise boldly. Stay independent, stay confident, and most importantly, stay you. Thank you.